my name is James Wiley, and I represent the life-saving project ReflectionsFromWithin.net. Today, I'm going to continue at the age of 10 when I just arrived at Thermopolis after leaving Florida. So, there's not a lot of preamble to this, so I'll just get right into it. The summer of 1985, Thermopolis. In the summer of 1985, when I'm 10 years old, I moved to Thermopolis. Since I had just had a major surgery from being hurt in Boynton Beach, Florida, I moved up to live with my dad, stepmom Becky, my little brother Jesse, stepbrother Willie, and a new little baby Tyrone. I'm 10 years old, like I said, and about to start the 5th grade. On the way to Thermopolis, I fly on a big jet and land in Denver. My dad picks me up. We drive to Thermopolis and get there in the evening. Becky's made me a lemon pie, which is awesome. In the past, she and I had difficulties, as I pretty much hated her. But this time, I tell myself that it will be different and that I will do my best to be kind to her. When I lived with my mom the year before, I called Dad and told him that as long as that bitch was there, I would never come back. I did this to prove my love for my mom and found myself doing extreme gestures like that sometimes. The reason I did such an evil thing is that I just wanted to feel loved and prove my loyalty and worth. I felt bad that I had did that to Becky, and I vowed that I would try harder to be nice. The first day in Thermopolis, Becky and I walked to work in the morning. It is a crisp, bright morning, and Becky's telling me all about the town and the store her and Dad have now. It's a fly tackle and fishing guide business. Dad is a fishing guide, and she runs the store. There's an ice cream parlor next door to the store. Our business shares the same shop with a taxidermy business. She and my dad sold her home in Story, Wyoming, to move to Thermopolis and start this business. It saddens me to hear that she sold the house in Story. It was a nice little log cabin. As we walk, she pushes a little walker with the new baby in it. I can feel admiration for her, but I'm also mad, and those feelings just will not go away. Thermopolis is a cool town. There are hot springs and swimming pools with slides. I love water. I like the clean, crisp air in the mornings. Back behind the park, there are buffalo. They are big, brown, furry creatures, but they just eat all the time. They are not mean or anything. I'm still wary and scared to get very close to them because they're extremely dangerous. When I got to Thermopolis, I discovered that my cat has disappeared when the family moved to Thermopolis. Dad tells me the story that she just went away and never came back. For years to come, I look for her in the streets of Thermopolis. I do have a moment years later in the streets that I think I might have shared with Sadie. For some reason, when my dad stopped at a stop sign, I see a cat that looked just like Sadie, and I get out of the truck. The cat comes right up to me, rubs itself on me, on my legs, and looks at me. I look at the cat wondering, but not knowing. I just get back in the truck and Dad drives off. It stays in my mind for a long time as I wonder if that was Sadie. Dad agrees to get me another cat. A cat owned by a man that is friendly with my dad has just had a litter of kittens from their cat, and they're giving kittens away. They give me a cat named Tigger. This cat looks just like Sadie, the cat who had left. I have a cat with me whenever I do live with Dad. It has been that way all my life. Cats love me and I love them. Tigger and I are very close. The next year, when she has kittens of her own, she has them in my bed with me while I sleep. I wake up thinking I wet the bed, and it's actually Tigger having her kittens. She always sleeps curled up next to me. When I turn on the light and see her with her fresh newborn kittens, she's the most elegant creature. She looks at me with eyes that talk to me. I'm very protective of her. It does not take long for Becky and me to get into a fight. I even tell her that I love her, but immediately I feel ashamed and guilty for loving her. Because I feel that if I care about her, that I am betraying my dad. I even feel that my dad punished me for betraying him by loving her. Confused, I perceive that he does not love me because I am betraying him. It feels like I'm doing wrong because I'm hurting my mom. because I'm afraid that my mom will feel that I love Becky and I don't love her. Guiltily, I imagine my mom feeling betrayed by me caring for Becky. Whenever I talk with my mom, she usually says something negative concerning Becky or with whom I'm living. My insides are knotted. Becky and I stay at peace for a while, for at least a few months. We actually get along good and do things together. She talks to me and explains things to me. She teaches me, instructs me how to set a good example, and helps me with homework. Becky tries to help me be a better person. Then we get into a violent fist-throwing, pushing, grabbing, and yelling fight. It's the nastiest fight I have ever fought. I might be 10 years old and only 75 pounds, but I fight her with unbridled rage. The fights I had with my stepdad, Scott, are nothing compared to the anger and hatred I express towards her. The fights I had with my other stepdad, David, as he trained me in martial arts, are nothing compared to the violence I leash out at her. No kid has ever stirred such intensity in me to fight as hard as I do with her. I do my best to cause damage and hurt her. I'm about half her size, but my rage physically and verbally is unmatched. I scream at her, punch her as hard as I can in the stomach. She pushes me away and yells at me. She never lashes out to hurt me and never punches me. Becky grabs my hair, but it's more to keep me away from her than to hurt me. Becky's not trying to hurt me. It is just me attacking her fiercely. I hate her. As hard as I can, I push her. She does not even move, so I grab her breasts and twist them in my fists with anger. Becky cringes in pain, and I feel satisfied that I hurt her. After that, I only refer to her as the bitch. I hate her and show nothing for her. My dad never says anything about it. Later on, I try to reconcile because she never does anything but wonderful things, and she continuously tries. Sometimes I look at her and feel bad for having to hate her. Regrettably, I feel bad, and as far as I know, I have no justification for calling her a bitch. I have no real reason to treat her life like I do, and just feel bad. It seems that hating her is how it has to be. I see Willie, Jesse, and Tyrone embracing her and all the things they do and share. So many times I wish I could share in that comfort with her. The instant I think of being anywhere near her, I feel guilty and ashamed. I just learned to keep my distance from her. One day, Becky points out how proud she is of how much I have changed. She points out how some of her friends have noticed a change in me. She says that when I first came to Thermopolis, I had a very foul mouth and I was mean. Becky continues to say that her friends are pointing out that I've become very well-spoken and well-mannered. They are saying that I have become a good kid. I do not know what to say, so I just look at her and go about my business. The first Christmas in Thermopolis, I have my first fight with a kid. It is with a boy who is living across the street. He comes over Christmas Eve while I'm shoveling snow off the sidewalk outside, and he starts knocking the icicles off the edge of the roof. I ask him to stop, and he does not. So I get mad and use the shovel to knock the rest of them down. One of the icicles hits him on the head, and he gets mad and attacks me. I flip him on his back and start beating him in the face. Snow gloves cover my hands, and I'm little, so I don't do much damage. Snow gloves cover my hands, and I'm little, so I don't do much damage. About the same time, I have him on the ground in a headlock, beating his face. Becky pulls into the driveway. She's coming home from somewhere. My stepmom simply stands over us watching us fight. Becky asks me if I'm okay, and I say that I am. I ask her to hear this. I tell the kid to promise to quit picking on my brothers and me, and he does. After a second of thinking, I ask Becky if she heard that. When she says that she did, I let the kid up. I get up and start walking back to the house. After I take a couple steps towards the house, I sense something coming at me. It turned just in time to see his fist coming at me. His fist barely misses my face, so I grab him and throw him to the ground for a second time. I start beating his face again. This kid's older than I am, and I'm kicking his butt. I'm satisfied. I like the... Dad hears the noisy commotion and comes out of the house. He grabs me by my shoulder and pulls me off the kid. Then he grabs the kid by the back of the collar and throws him off our property. We go into the house. The kid lingers by our property watching our house. From the house, I watch him for a while as he hides behind the boat parked in the street in front of our house. I wonder what he's thinking and feeling. I wonder if his face has bruises and how he'll explain that to his parents. I'm content that he'll not be bothering my brothers anymore. He's a bully and I'm happy I kicked his butt. He stays behind the boat watching our house for some time, and then he finally goes home. School at Thermopolis is cool. I like the 5th grade. They're 2 very cute girls. They each like me, and I love talking with them. They're best friends. One girl, they asked me to pick which one of them I want to be my girlfriend. I look at each of them. They're both very pretty in their own right. I like them both a lot. The first one has light brown wavy hair. I'll call her Kim. She's almost as tall as I am. Her face has some soft brown freckles on her cheeks that bring out the shape of her face. She usually does the most talking and is more outspoken of the two. We talk more than me and the other girl. The other one has long, straight blonde hair that goes almost all the way down to her waist. I'll call her Stacy. She's petite and beautiful. Stacy speaks softly and has steady eyes that just looks right through me. I like the way her skin is creamy and smooth like porcelain. When she actually talks, her voice is soft and easy to hear. Since I don't know which one I like more, since I like them both and they want me to choose, I ask them each how much they weigh. The cute light brown-haired girl says she weighs 75 pounds. The other weighs 90 pounds, which is what I weigh. I choose the blonde girl that weighs 90 pounds because she weighs the same as me. Since she weighs the same as me, she'll not get hurt when we have sex. We never do have sex, but that's why I picked her. In the 6th grade, she's still my girlfriend. It's really not a big deal. All we do is pass notes, talk, and hold hands in school. We never get together outside of school. The other girl asked me to the movies, and my girlfriend says it's okay. I agree to go to the movies with Kim. We watch Light of Day with young Michael J. Fox. The movie's good. It's my first official date. I'm thinking about my girlfriend Stacy and wishing that I could have gone to the movies with her. But she lives out of town and is not able to spend time in town. That's why we never really spend much time together. My girlfriend's friend, the one I'm at the movies with, kisses me after the movie. Uh-oh. I feel I'm in trouble. I just know I'm in so much trouble. But my girlfriend does not even care. I've not even kissed her, but she never says anything about it. Finally, when she's about to move away to Montana, later that year, we kiss in the hallway on the stairs. Stacy's a wonderful kisser, and I love it. It is a good kiss, at least 20 seconds. She moves away, and I'll never see her again. We wrote a couple letters back and forth, but then we eventually lose touch. I miss her. For years, I continued to go to school with the other girl. Kimberly helps me unknowingly a lot over the years. She was wonderful. It's a nice spring day, and I'm going outside to play with my improvised cat gun. The gun is actually an old .380 revolver pistol that is broke and does not work. My dad gave it to me as a toy. I can even put in blank shells. As I'm walking to the kitchen, I'm clicking the trigger, and the hammer is making the clicking sound each time I pull the trigger. Then, boom! The blank shell actually fires, and I about come out of my skin. It's never actually fired before. Becky's in the kitchen, too. She jumps and starts screaming at me. It was not my fault. I did not know it would fire. They're not even any bullets. It was just a cap. Dad comes to see the cause of the commotion. He thinks it's funny. He tells me to be careful with it. I go play outside. The gun never fires again. I don't have much money, and the craze at school is garbage pail kids, cards. Well, the only way I know how to get stuff I cannot pay for is to steal it. At the Maverick across the street, I get very good at stealing the cards. I go into the store and act as if I'm getting a candy bar, and I snack a pack of cards with the other. Then I slip the cards into my jacket and go about my way. For a few months, I get away with this until a cute blonde high school girl smooth busts me. She was waiting for me, and I walk right into her trap. I'm so embarrassed when she catches me. She just looks at me and tells me to put them back. What else can I do? She does not do anything else, but I never steal from there again. I don't like the way she looks at me. It sucked. I learned how to ride a motorcycle when I'm 10. We have an old Rockford motorcycle that has no engine, and we have a three-wheeler engine, but no three-wheeler. My dad rigs it up to put the engine in the motorcycle frame, and it works like a charm. At first, my dad says not to change it out of first gear until I can ride well, and then I'm able to go faster. I ride the motorcycle all the time by driving up and down the alley behind the house. In the winter, I tie a rope to the back of the seat and pull a sled behind. All winter, I give sled rides to Jesse and Willie. Tyrone is excessively small, and Becky will not let me anywhere near Tyrone. I get mad at her for her protectiveness of Tyrone, because I'm very protective of him too. Resentfully, I feel like she thinks I'm not good enough to keep him from getting hurt. It seems like I am not good enough. It's fun to pull Jesse and Willie on the sled. We spend long hours of me just pulling them around on the sled in the snow. We actually spend so many hours riding that we start to wear out the bottoms of sleds and have to find new ones. After we run out of sleds, then I resort to making sleds out of boards. I make cool sleds, and then we ride more. Experimenting with stuff I find, I learn to use foam to act as a cushion so the ride's more comfortable. With the wooden sleds, we don't even need snow. We just go. One day, I'm riding the yellow Rockford motorcycle in the alley and want to learn how to use the front brake. I decide I'm going to try it out. I'm going about 40 miles per hour down the alley, and I slam on the front brake by itself. The front end comes out from under the bike so fast that I can't even act. The next thing I know, I'm sliding face first across the gravel with the bike sliding along beside me. It's a nasty crash. I slide across the gravel for many feet and get nasty road rash. I never do that again. I love to race bicycles, and I've gotten to be a good rider. There's a race in Whirlin, and my dad agrees to let me go. I have two bicycles. One has a gear ratio that's not very fast, but accelerates quickly, and the other has a faster gear ratio, but it takes longer to gain speed. Since the track we're going to has many sharp corners, my dad says that I have to take the slower bike. I tell him that I'm more comfortable on the other bike. I do not really like the slower bike. I ask him repeatedly to let me take both bikes so we can decide at the racetrack. He refuses and makes me take only the slower bike. What he says goes. That's just how it is. At the race, I try to pedal my heart out, but I cannot keep up. And as I try to pedal hard, I wreck the bicycle. It hurts my side and hurts my pride even more. Never again, even though I'm very good at it, I never register for another race. That first spring, I get into the Little League baseball program through the recreation department, and I do not do very well. Hitting the ball for me is hard, and I can't catch very well either. When the coach plays me, he puts me in right field. The rest of the game, I warm the bench and watch the game. For the rest of the summer, I practice hard to be better. I stand in the backyard and spend hours upon hours throwing at a tire fixed up as a strike zone. My goal is to become a pitcher and get to where I can throw the ball very accurately. When the next Little League season starts, I do well and actually get to pitch. I am usually in the game playing somewhere. I even make the all-star team and get to march in a parade. I'm a proud representative of the town of Thermopolis. I'm happy to be part of the All-Star team. The hard work paid off, and I'm pleased with my achievement. I visit a friendly girl who lives across the street. She's 5 years older than I am. Considering I'm 11 and she's 16, I'm sitting in a chair with her as we watch TV. She starts grabbing my leg and squeezing. Then she moves her hand up into my crotch. I start touching her the same way, and then we start kissing. Passionately, she pulls me to the floor with her, pulling me on top of her. Groping my body, she slides her hand into my pants and pulls me against her. I follow her lead and push my hands under her, and I pull her against me. Then she jumps up and runs into the bathroom, locking the door behind her. My groin is very hard. It is painful. It feels like I have to pee. With her locked in the bathroom, I ask her what she's doing, and she ignores me. So I just stand at the door dumbfounded. After a little while, she comes out of the bathroom. We do not do anything else, and I leave with a very uncomfortable hardness in my pants, still feeling like I have to go to the bathroom. The day is sunny, and it's awkward walking down the porch stairs in blue jeans. I do not even know what happened or what is happening to my body. We moved down the street for the next winter and Christmas. This is the Christmas that I officially learned there is no Santa. I get to help Santa, or at least my parents. I helped Dad put together a go-kart for Jesse. We paint it red and it is nice. On Christmas Day, Jesse, Wiley, and I go to the IGA parking lot and we drive it around. Jesse's still too young to drive it well. He keeps stalling it out and can't steer it. I drive it around while Jesse and Willie watch me. It's a beautiful sunny Christmas day. The parking lot is empty. The go-kart goes fast and I even have trouble keeping control of it. Jesse gets better and we take turns driving it around. Jesse starts getting the hang of it. He goes fast and turns, making the tires squeal. Sometimes it'll tilt up on two wheels. One of the front wheels falls off. In one day, we wore the bearings off of the front wheels of the go-kart. I feel bad that Jesse's Christmas gift broke down so quickly. Over the years, I fixed that wheel a lot. I come up with all kinds of makeshift contraptions. I even bolt two boards together to eliminate the bearings. I'm able to buy a 12-foot quarter pipe for bicycles and skateboards. It is a deal for $15. But I still did not pay all the $15. The kid who sells the ramp to me does something, and I get mad at him. So I tell him I will not pay him anymore when I owe him $7. The incident makes me feel bad, but I rationalize to myself that I'm justified. Many years later, trying to make right, I pay him the other $7. He had bragged to me that he had airplane inner tubes that we could all use to float down the Bighorn River. When he showed up for us to go float the river, the tires were smaller than a normal truck tire. I got very upset with him because I had been looking forward to riding on the big inner tubes he had been describing. I spend long hours riding my bicycle on that quarter pipe. It is set up in the backyard and I ride it every day. When the babysitter's watching, I try to show off how good I can be. With practice, I get skilled and I can get to where I can even clear the top of the ramp by over a foot. The babysitter's a pretty girl that is a couple years older than I am. She usually sits in the sun listening to music. I like her company. When we move out of town, my dad says we cannot bring the ramp with us to the new house. It's too big to transport. I hate that because I love riding on it. But what Dad says goes. That ramp is gone. Bye. I'm 11 and my brother is 9. We're living in Thermopolis, Wyoming. It is Easter and my mother has come all the way from Florida to spend Easter with us. She's renting a motel room at the Holiday Inn. We're going to stay with her at the Holiday Inn while she's in town. Normally, we live in Thermopolis with our dad. Mom wants me to do all the mommy things like cut our hair and stuff. We go swimming at the pools and she gives my brother a massage. I will not let her touch me. She comments on how living with my dad has made me cold toward her, and she asks me why I'm not her loving little boy anymore. Mom talks about how she cannot stand the thought of us living up here in such an unloving environment. I bite my tongue and try to make the best of it. I feel I owe her something because she came so far to see us. She takes Jesse somewhere and I stay at the motel room and watch a movie. I did not want to go. The movie I watch is Can't Buy Me Love with Patrick Dempsey. It's a cute movie. Later, we have a nice dinner in the lounge of the motel. The food at the Holiday Inn is good. Mom keeps putting my dad down. She puts down my little brother, Tyrone, by saying that his name's a nigger name. I tell her to shut the F up. She goes on nagging about how my stepmom, Becky, my insides just hurt. Mom throws so much at me so fast I can't keep up. Mom says that our dad has brainwashed us against her and that we don't love her anymore. She says that she is sorry that she ever let us live with him. Her voice cuts into me as she says how he ruined us. How we used to be her loving children and now we're just cold shells. That night, she wants us to sleep in the bed naked with her and I snap. When I tell her that I am going to sleep on the floor, she talks about how I do not love her anymore. Mom says my dad brainwashed me against her and that I love Becky more than I love my own mother. And she starts in with other tactics and tells me to see how Jesse loves her. She continues incessantly. I tell Jesse to keep on the floor with me, or sleep on the floor, but she argues with me that it is Mom and it's okay. When I lay down to go to bed, she wants me to get undressed. I stone cold refuse. She speaks of how I used to be loving in my birthday suit and how it was hard for me to keep clothes on me. Mom asks me what happened to me. Why am I so detached, distant, cold, and so on? Mom repeats how she feels so guilty because she let us live with Dad and how she feels it's her fault that I've been ruined by living in such a cold, unloving environment. I sleep on the floor, fully clothed, and curled up in a ball. Seeing my brother up there naked on that bed with her holding him close, I am sick. If my body is a knot, it cannot be any tighter. I'm unbelievably angry and sad that my brother does not understand that it is wrong. I cannot wait to get away from her and wish that she had never came up here to Thermopolis. She is like poison. I will not let her near me, and I tell Jesse not to let her touch him either. But he loves her. He does not know. It makes me sad. I am glad when she leaves. When I'm 11, a babysitter who comes over and she watches us all play outside in the yard. She watches me ride my bicycle on the quarter pipe. She brings her tapes and I play them in the stereo as I ride. I spend lots of time writing to Bon Jovi's Slippery When Wet album. That tape rocks. One day in the house, she comes up to me as I'm walking through the living room and sticks her tongue in my ear. It is unknown to me, so I do not respond and just keep walking because I don't know what she's doing. It feels weird and my ear is wet. As the moisture evaporates, my ear has a cool sensation. She's only 2 years older than me and is pretty. Her friendliness is pleasant, and I like her. When I'm home alone, a man comes up to the door and rings the doorbell. When someone rings the doorbell, Ace, our faithful dog, jumps and charges the door and starts barking. That's just Ace in his old age. He's 11 years old, just like me. The man had opened the door when he rang the doorbell. So when Ace charged the door, he knocks the door open and goes after the man. I'm not quick enough to stop him. The man turns and runs down the street. Ace does not have any teeth in his mouth that are sharp because they were exploded out of his mouth by a lightning strike when he was younger. So he can't do a lot of damage. He does get a hold of the man's butt, though, and tears the man's pants and scratches the trespasser's butt. Ace stops right on the edge of our property. Ace is smart. The man keeps running. About a half hour later, my stepmom, Becky, comes home and takes Ace straight to the veterinarian to have him put down because he bit the man. I'm too small to stop her. I fight her as best I can and yell at her. When she leaves, I'm so mad that I pick up one of Tyrone's baby shoes and throw it through the plexiglass window on the front door. I'm in a rage. When Becky comes back without Ace, I start yelling at her. I remember how she was the principal of that private Christian school I had to attend in third grade, and the stuff they taught me. Knowing how she's a good Christian and Bible-following person, I tell her an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. She killed my brother, and I'm going to kill her. Those words will haunt me for the rest of my life because I said them, and I know I have to do what I say. My dad never said anything to me about what I said to Becky. For breaking the window, my dad reprimands me because fixing the window costs money that we don't have. The year is 1987. It's the 4th of July. The sun is setting and the city show is about to begin. The fireworks are set off in the airport area, and that's in view from our backyard. We climb up on the roof of our house and watch the fireworks. The show is awesome. For 7th grade, we move out of town. We move to the northwest, out to an area called Missouri Flats. It's about 7.5 miles out of town. When we first go out there, we have my motorcycle in the back of the truck. It's a Mako 250. I jump on it and ride in the field that's part of the property. The grass is a couple feet high, but the land is flat, so I'm just cruising around. Instead of just following the fence line, I shortcut across the field at an angle, and I hit something. The bike flips out from under me so quickly and catches my leg under the bike. The clutch lever is sticking in my shoe, and my knee is twisted under the bike. The pain is excruciating. I can't even stand. It hurts so much. When I recover my wits, I look at what I hit and see that I hit a big irrigation pipe. I'm just laying there in the field. After examination of the pipe, I see that the pipe forms a crossing where water drains. I'm hurting so much that Dad has to help carry me back to the house. That motorcycle wreck is one of the worst wrecks I have ever had. In the 7th grade, I wrestle for the school, and it comes naturally. In every tournament, I finish at least in the top 4. I love to wrestle because I'm good at it. In the 7th grade, I start collecting ribbons and medals like candy. It is Super Bowl time, and the Broncos are playing the Redskins. All the kids at school are Denver fans, and they're looking to make bets. The bets are small, a quarter here, maybe 50 cents. I get in on the action because I think the Washington Redskins are going to win. I get home and tell Dad that we have to watch the Super Bowl because I made some bets on the game. I only bet about $2.50, but Dad gets angry at me. He lectures me hard about how gambling is bad and so forth. We watch part of the game, and in the beginning, the Broncos start winning by a large margin. My dad makes me shut the game off and tells me how it serves me right to have bet on it, and I feel drained and stupid. The Redskins make a comeback and win the game, but by that time, I feel so ashamed of having made any bets. I do not even stand up for myself to get what is mine. It was stupid of me to bet. My science teacher, who is a friend with my dad and who was there when I wrecked the Mako on that pipe, has a little XR80 motorcycle. As soon as I see it in his yard, I know I want it. I bug him for months to let me get it from him. Since no one's using the motorcycle, I figure he'll let me get it from him. He finally gives in and tells me that if I give him $100, I can have it. I only have $30. Looking at a Shotgun News magazine, I see an advertisement selling throwing stars for a very cheap price. I am familiar with throwing stars. I've seen a lot of them at many gun shows I have attended with my mom. I know it's good business. From the Shotgun News magazine, I use my $30 to order a bunch of throwing stars, and then I sell them for $1 a piece at school. I almost get in a lot of trouble because some of the kids at school keep playing with them. The principal gets mad. The principal starts giving threats and offering rewards for information, but no one ever turns me in. I spend long hours wandering in the hills around the house. On my motorcycle, I ride all over the back dirt roads, exploring the countryside, going as far as the roads will let me go. I love the wilderness. One time after a rainstorm, I go out and end up bogging down the little Honda in Bent tonight. That stuff is messy and sticky, and I burn the engine up in the motorcycle. The motorcycle tires are full of mud, and I have to clean out the tires just so I can push it home. I have that white mud all over me, and it's tough to get off. It's all slimy and sticks to everything. In frustration, I try to push the bike. but my feet just slide around in the mud. It's an exhausting push home. It takes me half the day to get about a mile. I do sleep well that night. When I get the money together, I take the engine completely apart and rebuild it. I hone the cylinder and put new rings on it. When I put the engine back together, I put all new gaskets in it. The motorcycle runs great and is like new again. When I get some plywood, I build the trick ramp, spend hours upon hours riding a skateboard on it. The boards on the ramp actually wear out from me riding it so much. Then, since I cannot ride the skateboard on it anymore, I start jumping the motorcycle off of it. I love the thrill of jumping such a big jump because it's scary. I see Jesse go through so much as other kids pick on him. He brings some of it on himself by antagonizing him, but that is no excuse to tease him. It pains me to see him hurt sometimes. When I look at him, I see his glasses and know that he is blind in one eye and deaf in one ear. I feel it is my fault because I should have been by the door in that vehicle when we were little. My stomach knots whenever I look at him. I only watch what he goes through because I do not really know how to connect with him. Whenever I'm around him, my insides hurt with pain and regret. It all sucks because I feel helpless because I don't know how to help him. I give the little Honda motorcycle to Jesse. He likes that. In attempts to show I love him, I give him stuff. That's the only way I know how to be there for him. I don't know what else I can do. When I can, I have a habit of giving him stuff. I have a collection of beautiful marbles that I spent years putting together. They fill a whole bag, Crown Royal liquor bag. Some of the marbles I've never seen before and never seen anything like. Excuse me. Some of them are beautiful and perfect, not even a blemish or a scratch. I give the entire bag of marbles to him one day. It pleases me to see him and Wiley play with them. Contentedly, I feel I did a good thing. When I get older, I give him my BMX bicycle that I love because I think he will like it. That's my only way of connecting with him. Giving him things is all I know. I always just stand on the sidelines and watch him. He has a hard time and goes through so much. I love him very much and want him happy. It kills me inside to see him suffer. There are some wild cats on the land from the previous owner. The previous occupants had moved out about a year before and just abandoned the cats. What a waste. One of the wild cats kills one of my cat's kittens. My dad comes to me and tells me about the feral cats killing the kitten. I'm very upset about this. The war on cats begins. Nothing hurts what I love. My dad killed a lot of big game earlier this year, so there's a pile of deer, antelope, and elk skeletons in the field. Dad helps me set up muskrat traps around some of the dead carcasses. I spend the entire winter trapping feral cats and muskrat traps. I kill many cats. Almost daily when I go out in the morning before school, I find a cat or two in the traps. Some of the cats are merely kittens themselves. They're all different colors. They hiss and show their teeth. I shoot them in the head behind the ear with a .22 caliber pistol. Then I take them out of the traps and carry them out into the field. That's where I leave the dead cat, so scavengers like coyotes and crows can eat the carcasses. Most of the winter I trap and kill these wild cats, and after a few months I lose count of how many I actually kill. The only thing I know is that it is war. Nothing hurts what I care about gets away with it. The last cat I kill is a spectacular animal. I think it is the daddy of them all. Over a couple weeks, my dad and I see it, but never get a chance to shoot it. It's too smart for the trap, so the trap never catches it. One day, my dad gut shoots it on the run as it goes by the house. Dad yells at me, and I go off tracking it down. After grabbing my pistol, I follow blood droplets and find it hiding in a shed. I kill it. This feline is the biggest, heaviest, and most beautiful cat that I've ever seen. I'm very sorry that it had to die. When I carry it into the field, the sun is shining on its belt. It's so perfectly black that the sun makes it look maroon purple. I have never seen anything like it. It has to weigh 30, 40 pounds. and it was rock solid muscle. I say a prayer for it as I lay it in the field. I'm 13, and I'm going to spend the summer with my grandma and grandpa in New Mexico. I love my grandparents. My grandpa gets up before dawn every day and makes coffee. I get in the habit of getting up with him early in the morning. We sit together in the kitchen and he drinks his coffee. Then we walk down the road to check the mailbox. During the morning, he watches game shows like The Price is Right, and I watch them with him. In the afternoon, while Grandpa is napping, I spend time with Grandma. We make salads and salad dressings. I love to make different types of Italian dressings. My uncle flies to Europe for TWA. He flies the big 747 jets. When he comes back, he brings fancy foreign vinegars for Grandma. So she has quite a collection. We make good use of her collection. Her vinegars are the best. I put together a big wildlife nose egg puzzle that we glued to a piece of cardboard. It was slow going, but when I get it put together, it's beautiful. There are all kinds of different animals on it. My Uncle Jim takes me out to Las Cordovas where I lived when I was very little. There's a river on the edge of our property out there. We take my casting net and we use it to catch crawfish. Uncle Jim and I fill 2 5-gallon buckets by posting the net downstream and then going upstream and chasing the crawfish into the net. When we've got plenty, we take the crustaceans to Grandma. She makes creamy crawfish soup. I end up eating so much that I get yucky sick. I do not want to see another crustacean the rest of the time I'm there. My 2 aunts take me to a Navajo powwow south of Taos. It's awesome. There's dancing and it's kind of like a huge flea market. There are all kinds of little booths and people selling a variety of different foods and craftware. Colorful t-shirts for sale and beautiful paintings are on display throughout the sales booth. In the distance, I can hear the drums from the dancers. I eat a big Navajo taco on fry bread. It's awesome. It has beans and hamburgers. Then there are tomatoes, lettuce, onions, olives. The salsa's not too hot. And to top it off, there's sour cream. The taco fills the entire tray. It is yummy. I buy a silver money clip with the turquoise bear claw on it. It is little and fits in my pocket perfectly. I like the way there's a little turquoise stone for each of the bear toes. My aunt owns the Red Willow in Taos, which is a very nice bead store. I go and visit her downtown. She always gives me money and sends me to the toy store across the street. She spoils me. After checking out all the toys in the store, I buy a game where I have to bounce a marble through a maze without letting it fall into any of the slots. The game takes me a very long time to be able to complete it. All I have is 2 knobs to turn. Each knob rotates the board. The marble is on in a different direction. I have to be very steady as I try to maneuver the marble down a path on the board. There are holes in the board, and the object is to keep the marble from falling in any of the holes while maneuvering the marble down the path. I worked at the game for about 2 weeks, and finally, I beat it. I spent some of the summer working for my Aunt Pat. She has a luxurious house outside of town. To me, it's like a mansion. She's working on putting a lawn in the yard, but there are large rocks all over the ground, so she hires me to pick up rocks. The hot summer sun is yucky to work under, but inside her house is nice and comfortable. In the middle of the house, there's a yard with a fountain. My Uncle Jim is building a wall around the property, and I help him too. My grandma buys me a super-sized bubble maker. We take it into the mountains. Up in the mountains, we picnic and look for mushrooms. The mountains have nice sponge mushrooms, which my aunt and grandma like to eat. When we stop for lunch, I get to make bubbles. The bubble maker makes bubbles 8 feet long. The bubbles are big enough to fit someone inside them. My grandma helps me mix up a bucket of soapy water that I soak the bubble maker in. Then I spread open the loop and walk down the road, letting the breeze push huge bubbles out of the loop. As the sun shines on the bubbles, colors swirls and reflect. It's very cool to see and watch. We go to the Rio Grande Gorge and walk down to the hot springs. I swim across the river, and when I come out of the water, I smile proudly because I believed I achieved something grand. I'm a very good swimmer. I tell them that someday I'm going to swim across the Mississippi River. I think that would be an accomplishment. My grandma signs me up and has me go on a recreation trip down to Albuquerque to go to a water park. The trip is a blast. The bus I ride down to Albuquerque is full of a bunch of kids my age. We play card games and tell jokes the whole way down to the water park. When I get to the water park, I float the slow river all the way around the park. The day's hot and sunny. There's a pool with an artificial beach where a big wall makes waves. After debating how to surf with a kid who drove down on the bus with me, I'm almost able to surf on a bodyboard. I love water. It's a blast. On the ride back to Taos, everyone is tired and we sleep away the ride back. The trip was exciting. My grandma has a garden and a pear tree. In her garden, she grows strawberries. They are the best. I also love the pears. I pick them right off the tree and eat them as I pass by. There are many little fences around my grandparents' property, and I constantly run and hurdle the fences. I trip over one and land on my face, but that does not stop me. Knowing I can make it, I get in, get it on the next try. My grandma and I make homemade ice cream with an ice cream maker. We add our own flavors. My favorite is plain vanilla. It is smooth and rich. Then we'd add preservatives of Hershey's chocolate on top. It's pure delight. My grandma also has a thing for International Foods Gourmet coffee. We try all kinds. I like the mocha mint. Of course, I like anything with chocolate. In the fall, when I'm getting ready to go back to Thermopolis, the green chili harvest comes in and the streets fill with vendors roasting green chilies. We buy bags full of green chilies and we take them back to Thermopolis. Some of those chilies get very hot. I learned the hard way. I bite into one and it sets my mouth on fire. Even after eating pure sugar, my mouth stays on fire for half an hour. Whew. My grandparents are the best and I love them very much. For the 8th grade year, we moved to another house north of Thermopolis. This house is a little over 5 miles outside of town. My dad is buying us a home. It means that we'll have a home that is ours now and we will not have to rent anymore. In the 8th grade, I placed first or second in every tournament for wrestling. I am the one to beat. I'm winning a lot of tournaments and that is awesome. Each year I grow into my own and become better. I can literally see myself improving. It's time for the conference finals, and I am the top seed in my conference. My team goes to the final tournament with high expectations. I plan to wrestle my heart out and win. I get to the finals easily and have to wrestle someone I've already beaten earlier in the season. With 4 seconds on the clock, we both go out of bounds. The score is 4-0. I am ahead. When we restart, I go to the stall the last couple seconds, and he throws me with a headlock. I lose the championship 5-4. I'm so heartbroken. I explain the loss to myself, that it is better that he won, because it'll have a good influence on his future, and how I was not going anywhere anyways. I'm just a failure. The spring of my 8th grade year, I participate in the Wyoming State Games. Our wrestling coach from school takes a handful of us to Casper. He takes us to the mall to shop, and we all have fun. We are a team. The games are awesome. There's activity everywhere, and there are many people. I wrestle and win the tournament. The games are awesome. There's activity everywhere, and there are many people. I wrestle and win the tournament. I get a big gold medal. I love women. I'm going to call it here until the next episode. We're at the summer of 1989, where I'm going to go to Florida with my brother, and we'll spend the summer with my mom in Florida. So to all you people listening, thank you for joining in. If you have any thoughts or comments or questions, or heard something that affected you that you would like to share your story, please reach out to me at reflectionsfromwithin.net. Thank you again. Until next time, I am James Wiley.